Transcending fear. The processing out of negative feelings is similar to that of recovery from other negative attitudes and states. In this process, fears are allowed to arise without resistance, and their emotional energy is surrendered as it arises. A simple technique is called, "And then what?" In this process, one starts with a fearfulness and then surrenders to a consequence if such a fear should actually happen. For example, I'm afraid I'll lose my job. And then what? Then I won't have any money. And then what? And then we'll be thrown out of the house. And then what? And then we'll become homeless. And then what? And then we won't have any money for food and we could starve to death. And then what? And then we'll get sick and die, and so on. As each fear consequence is surrendered, it can be, for multitudes do that very thing, the train of fears always terminates and ends up with the fear of physical death itself. Interestingly, the near-death experience subsequently eliminates all fear of death, also experientially true in the author's own life. Almost all social, psychological, and physical fears are unconsciously just elaborations of the fear of death, from which they all arise. It may take only a short time, or it could take hours, days, or even longer to go through the whole list of horrors. Finally, when death is accepted and surrendered to God, the core of the fears drops away. This final curative surrender obviously brings up one's contextualization of divinity, and surrendering physical life to God then brings up the last stack of fears, which relate to destiny, fears of a punitive God and anthropomorphic depictions and legends of divinity. It is helpful to remember that if God were not all-merciful, we probably would not even be alive today. Even primitive belief systems of punitive, jealous, vengeful, and angry gods also provide resolutions by which redemption and salvation can be granted. Within rational and confrontable realms, these include absolution by confession, penance, acceptance of a savior, institution of a major change of behavior, prayer, entreaty, and basically surrendering one's will to God. It is useful to realize